Since the beginning of cinema, movies have shaped the way we see and hear creatures of the past. If you try to imagine what a T-Rex sounds like, you might instantly think of an earth-shaking roar, like in Jurassic Park. Ever since that movie's release, we've all been conditioned to believe that a T-Rex roar would be this terrifying and iconic high-pitched sound. But here's the thing, Jurassic Park was a masterclass in movie magic, not necessarily a science lesson. Here's something you probably didn't know. The movie's T-Rex roar was made using the roar of an elephant, the growling of a tiger, lion, and alligator, and the sound of a whale blow, which was used for its breath. And the audio for that one scene where he tears another dino apart was actually a dog attacking a rope toy. As you can see, there's not much science behind all this. The truth is, the real T-Rex sounded very different from the creature we heard in the film. In fact, recent research suggests that the actual sound was far worse than Hollywood's version, but in a very unique way. So, what did the T-Rex really sound like? If you've ever been curious about this subject, you might have stumbled upon these kinds of sounds. Or maybe something like this. Obviously, these are fake. What you just heard was real animal sounds simply slowed down. That's not exactly what we're after. To get the real deal, we have to turn to our old reliable friend, science. When it comes to recreating the sound of a T-Rex, scientists face a big and obvious challenge. Dinosaurs lived millions of years ago, and sounds, well, they don't fossilize. Soft tissues like vocal cords, which create sound, don't preserve over time like bones do. So unlike bones that tell us a lot about size, shape, and even movement, we're left with almost no direct evidence of how dinosaurs actually sounded. As we're about to find out, this gap forces scientists to get creative when it comes to recreating the soundscape of extinct creatures. Of course, there are some dinosaurs that we know more about than the T-Rex when it comes to the sound they made. For instance, we have a good understanding of what the armored dinosaur Pinacosaurus might have sounded like. This is because they found preserved parts of the Pinacosaurus's larynx, the organ responsible for producing sounds in the throat. By comparing this ancient larynx with those of modern birds and crocodiles, researchers believe that the Pinacosaurus could produce a wide range of sounds: rumbling, grunting, roaring, and even chirping. There's only one problem with that. The Pinacosaurus is boring. Yep, that's right, I said boring. Who cares about the sounds of a peaceful herbivore? We want to hear the terrifying real-life roars of an apex predator. The problem is, the T-Rex did not leave us as many clues as the Pinacosaurus to recreate its real voice. So, how did we figure it out? We'll get back to it in a second. For now, try to project yourself back in time, millions of years ago in a gloomy Jurassic scenery when the Tyrannosaurus Rex's reign was supreme. Close your eyes, turn the volume up, and let's hear what it sounded like. Just a heads up, you might want to use headphones. Some might consider this sound to be underwhelming and prefer the traditional Jurassic Park roar. Personally, I think this sound is way scarier than anything we've seen in movies so far. Why? Well, if you put your headphones on, you probably realize that the real T-Rex sound is more vibration than actual noise, which means that you would feel this beast coming instead of hearing or seeing it. To me, that's way scarier to think about. You might wonder then, how legitimate is this sound, and how close is it to the real thing? To answer this question, we have to take a look behind the curtains in the Sound Lab of Texas University. It's there that in 2017, Professor Julia Clark, a renowned paleontologist, recreated the sound of a Tyrannosaurus by using what we know about voice boxes and syrinxes. To make an educated guess, she turned to the closest living relatives of dinosaurs, birds and crocodiles. Birds have complex vocal organs called syrinxes, allowing for a huge range of sounds, while crocodiles use lower-pitched rumbles and growls. By using the call of the Eurasian bittern bird and the sound of a Chinese crocodile, she was able to understand that this was a more realistic depiction of the T-Rex call, as both are archosaurs, which are the precursors to dinosaurs. But how did we go from a bird and a crocodile to what you just heard? Well, this is the 21st century, so of course, that's where technology steps in, with computer models and audio simulations helping fill in the gaps. Combining them together, then enhancing the sound to match the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Professor Clark created what some might call the best imitation of what it would sound like. And let's be real, it sounds terrifying. Okay, that's great and all, but could there be another possibility besides Jurassic Park's exaggerated roar or Professor Clark's science-backed discovery? In fact, there is. While Hollywood's T-Rex and the sound we just heard are pretty scary, some scientists propose an equally chilling possibility. The T-Rex might have been silent. They suggest it may not have needed to announce its presence with dramatic vocalizations. Instead, it could have relied on other methods to intimidate prey or assert dominance, but also, silence itself could have been a powerful weapon. Stealth would have given it a deadly edge in ambush scenarios. In this case, the absence of sound wouldn't diminish its fear factor, it would amplify it. Speaking of silence, there's another fact about the T-Rex that, when you really think about it, doesn't really make sense. In Jurassic Park, the T-Rex's thundering footsteps are as iconic as its roar, but in reality, this portrayal might not hold up. Remember when I said the movie wasn't really backed by science? Well, here's another example. The T-Rex footstep sounds were made by chopping down giant sequoia trees. Like I said earlier, impressive, yes, but scientifically accurate? Probably not. Think about it. Modern large animals like elephants and giraffes can move almost silently despite their massive size. The T-Rex may have had similar adaptations, using stealth to its advantage. Given its immense size, it couldn't run as fast as some of its prey, like the speedy hadrosaurs, and would likely have relied on sneaking up on them. If every step shook the ground or announced its approach from a mile away, it would have been a pretty ineffective predator. Silence would then have been its best strategy for catching prey, making it even more terrifying than Hollywood's noisy depiction. All in all, though, I think we can agree that whether his footsteps were silent or not, and whether it roared or not, the Tyrannosaurus Rex will go down in history as one of nature's scariest and most dominant apex predators. Thanks for watching PaleoPath, and don't forget to subscribe for more prehistoric stories.